I
Yeah,
think.
when someone has a really good year, everyone just assumes that's them now. It's like, yeah, Christian Yelich is not having back-to-back 7.6 WAR years.
I think they
That's
did brilliantly. They might have got the best value deal though of the offseason getting Grandal.
yeah, actually,
That was really good. They've,
even though it's a lot for 1 year, but it's like it was 1 year. It doesn't really matter, does it? And
I mean,
I think he's quite an underrated catcher. When people are talking about the best catchers in baseball and stuff, it's like if he's good, he's like 25 home runs possibly, and did like an elite frame.
I think the thing with them is they've got such lineup depth. So they've got Grandal having a good hitting catcher changes the situation because you then don't have the hole. So they've got Kane and Yelich at the top. Obviously, Braun should be okay for a corner outfielder. Mustakis, Shaw, Aguilar. Um, it's
They've
just a
basically gone
question
for
of
the no defense team, haven't they? That's basically their thing.
yeah, but they've got to is that they all need to be healthy and good, and some of them better than what we expect
Yeah,
to make up for the fact that Yelich is not going to be the one OPS guy. He's going to be like probably high 800s, maybe.
yeah,
I would put it at.
maybe 900 something, like 920 or something maybe would be good. But like, yeah, he's. I'd be very surprised if he did that again. Pretty much, and also, I mean, even though their bullpen, well, was really good, is another thing of it was, are they all going to be quite as good as that again? I don't think like
Yeah,
Hader probably will because he is ridiculous, but like they had a lot of guys as well that it was like breakouts, really, wasn't it? It was like no one had really heard of them much. Well, unless you're a Brewers fan, I guess. Like, I mean, like Jeffries, I don't think I'd heard him before last year.
yeah, it's unlikely these guys. It just, I don't know. It has a bit of that feeling, kind of like we said about the Red Sox in our other podcast, with that they might just everyone might be a bit worse almost. Obviously, not necessarily everyone, but it is hard to see this roster being that good again. Which obviously might be wrong, and it'd be quite cool if they're good. The other argument is there's a lot of upside in the starting pitching, and they had injuries and stuff last year and sort of worked through that.
Yeah,
But it's really hard to judge, to be honest.
yeah. It's
It's
one of
not.
those things where they had the massive up year. It feels like a stretch to expect anyone to be better than they were. I mean, maybe Hader, even though Hader was ridiculous, like he could be better. There's a lot of guys that you feel like they're not. There's no way they're doing better than last year.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, like
Aguilar hit 890 OPS for his Aguilar. I mean, that's
yeah,
just
that again, he's a guy that had a massive breakout, isn't he? And it's like maybe he is close to that. But yeah, like they're definitely going to have some players that are worse at least, and there's not going to be much like big improvements. They've not really added much, have they?
well, it was Grandal and keep and
Yeah,
retaining Moustakis.
yeah. I guess yeah. Grandal's quite a big one.
One of
There's
the not big losses, but something that could be a thing maybe is Ryan Braun is old,
yeah,
um, and playing left field. Like you're not going to get 160 games out of him. And they traded away Keon Broxton and Domingo Santana, who
yeah.
were
And
both
left,
not especially good last year, but
yeah.
also
It feels like there's
something.
almost slightly other way. I don't know who they've got behind that. I don't know them that well. They're like minor leagues and stuff, but like last off season, there was the thing of when they signed Yelich and Kane, it almost seemed like over the top. It was like thought the outfield was sort of set and looked pretty solid, and they suddenly had like loads of them, and now it feels like I've gone almost too far the other way.
Well, I
Whereas
think it
I don't
was.
know if they got any depth now.
I think they've, if anything, they've got Ben Gamel that arrived in one of the trades. Um,
Okay,
I think the Santana one. But my question with that was I wasn't actually that keen on the Yelich and Kane deals, particularly one. I was obviously quite wrong with that. So maybe they'll prove me wrong here. But if they were going to trade Santana and Broxton, I don't get why they didn't do it when they got Yelich and Kane.
yeah, I know that like their value's only dropped, isn't it? Over the last
Plummeted,
season, yeah.
absolutely plummeted.
Like Santana had like huge value. Well, maybe not huge, but pretty large. Like, you know, possibly like top 100, like a low top 100 prospect for him or something.
Yeah, so that's a bit odd. The other big thing coming for them is Keston Hiura
Oh yeah, yeah. I
potentially
almost forgot
arriving at
about
some
him.
point.
Just before we started, actually, I was thinking about that. That's like one of the bigger things for the Brewers, because he's not that close at the moment, is he? But he's one of these guys that like could move quickly, and he's sort
Yeah.
of due. I mean, possibly due up sometime this year. Like, it's one of those things then where it's because he's quite far away. Is it like
Well, he played
it,
73 games in Double A last year. He's not.
okay?
I
It's
mean,
not
like,
that far away,
I think he could
but
be
he's
up early this year
yeah, he
if
could
he.
be. But yeah, it's like one of those things. It obviously depends how he does and like performs in the majors, in the minors, even. But you know, it's like could still go either way. But like there is a chance that he is like comes up on absolutely on fire um, in like a couple of months, or he
Yeah.
struggles a bit and then doesn't come up until like August or September or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he could be a bit of a difference maker.
So I don't. Where do you? Why do you have them third then?
Well, basically because I feel like the most of their players are going to be less good than last year.
Do you think they'll be worse? Like,
They
where
also
do you have them
actually
wins wise?
outperformed their Pythagorean win loss
Yeah, by
by
5
5.
games. Where?
But yeah,
What sort of wins? Because I could see them winning 90.
I could as well, but I think the other two were going to win just as much
Yeah, I
somehow.
was
I
quite
basically I
close to
seem
going.
to have like a lot of teams in the National League winning like around 90 or above.
Yeah, mine
But
doesn't add
that's
up. Mine doesn't add up at all. For the number of
I
teams I have winning 90, there's going to have to be some that win
I think there's
about
going to be a
10.
couple. I think the D-backs. The thing is, yeah, it's like talking about teams that may be competitive. I feel like there's. I know it feels like almost everyone in the National League has some sort of chance at this point.
Apart from Miami.
Yeah, maybe the Diamondbacks. Don't know. But yeah, they're basically. I think they're just loads of their players are going to be at, slightly worse at the very least.
Because to give the game away a bit here, I was pretty close to saying Cubs for third.
Oh, okay. I was going to go say Cubs for second.
I've got Cardinals winning, obviously. Partly
Yeah,
because
obviously.
there is some bias in that I just really like the Brewers. I think they're quite fun. I like the idea that they just have a stupid bullpen and don't really care too much about how good their starters are. Um, but I also then you kind of have to correct your own thinking a bit, and it's like, is Christian Yelich a 7.6 WAR player again? Is Lorenzo Cain quite that good? I'm not that convinced. So I I think that those two could end up being really close. I could see those two both in like the high 80s, maybe going for the wild card spot.
Yeah.
But then I think the floor of like the Brewers. Mate, no,
No,
that's not fair.
I
Actually,
don't
I was
know.
going to say their floor is quite low, but I don't think that's necessarily true.
No. Like you say, it's always the thing of not having starters. Like you look at their rotation and think like, how did they even compete last year? But as a few teams have shown, it's like you don't really need starters anymore. I mean, not good ones anyway. Like
Yeah,
if starters that before were like subpar and pitched like 100 and 70, 180 innings, you make them pitch like 120 innings instead.
and they're better. Their
Yeah,
ERA drops a bit, and it's fine. Um,
I said, yeah, well, yeah, they had a few guys pitching slightly more than that, but they had Julius Justine pitched a lot, but everyone else was like not that much. But yeah. Anyway, should we move on to the Cubs?
yeah, As we finished on the Brewers rotation, I think we should start on the Cubs rotation, which is quite an odd mix, I think, in that it's not got like well, it's got uncertainty despite them all being biggish names, but not as much uncertainty as some others, if you see what I'm saying. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, the five is set, isn't it? It's Hendricks, Darvish, Lester, Hamels, and Quintana.
I don't think there's huge upside in it, to be honest.
No,
I think
but
there's
if
just a
they're
chance
healthy,
a couple of them are absolutely terrible. A couple of them are just like past it. But also, yeah, also it's deep if they're healthy.
and they have the nicer thing of like, if they're healthy, I think it's unlikely that any of them are absolutely rubbish.
No,
I think
not
like,
horrendous.
well, you don't
They're-
have the risk like other teams do, where they're just throwing a rookie in at
It's
four or
almost
five.
the opposite of the Brewers, to be honest, where they've got a lot of guys that are like established names, um, but maybe not as good as they used to be, and generally pitch a lot of innings.
Yeah, yeah,
So like they're may end up with a lot of innings as starters.
but not brilliant innings. It's just going to be like solid, and
Yeah,
that's kind of why I wanted to start on it. I think it's quite intriguing how you've got these two teams in differing markets, and you've got the Cubs who've loaded money into their rotation.
yeah, and it's not necessarily going to be more effective,
No,
basically
no,
because
not
of the
at
way
all.
the difference in managing it.
Yeah, and it's just quite nice to have teams who are. I think these two could end up being very, very close.
Yeah,
But I think there's more legitimate upside on the Cubs in the Cubs lineup.
yeah,
Sorry.
because the thing. Well, this is the thing with the Cubs is so they were. Yeah, they still won a lot of games. Like they very nearly. Was it one game behind?
It was game 163, wasn't it?
Oh right.
And then
Yeah,
they lost the wild
they do
card to the
actually add
Rockies.
up 6-3, don't they? Okay, those numbers. Yeah. But yeah, so they were actually level with them, and yet like Chris Bryant was out the whole year. Anthony Rizzo wasn't amazing for most of the year, and maybe like a couple of others. Well, Wilson Contreras. I think he's like better than he was last year. I think he's a better player than that. So
Yeah,
it's almost the reverse of they were basically level, whereas it feels like the Brewers a lot of their players overperformed. Whereas apart from Baez, who I think overperformed ridiculously, they had a lot of underperformers. And if they both regress a little bit back the other way, then the Cubs are suddenly better.
basically, if you put it this way, if you put the betting line for each player's like say OPS for the Cubs, I'd be betting the over on most of them. I think
Yeah,
like almost like Chris Bryant, obviously if he's healthy, is a better player than that. Anthony Rizzo, I'm right remembering he had an awful start to the year, recovered it, but like he can definitely be a better player than an 8.46 OPS. I don't think he's
yeah.
nailed on to be, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say he will be. And then, like you said, I mean, I don't think Javi Baez would be
No, I
that
think Javi
good.
Baez is going to be worse. But yeah, this like yeah. What if Javi Baez isn't worse? Because I think he almost certainly is going to be. But like Chris Bryant, I'm pretty confident he's going to be back to like how he was. Maybe I don't know. I
Yeah, but
mean,
the
I don't
thing
really know
with
what I'm basing that on, but
Javi Baez as well, though, even if his offense drops off a fair bit, he's such an asset because he's like an awesome defender in different positions.
yeah,
Uh, and then the rotation isn't quite a concern, but their starting depth is limited. Their starting depth is very
yeah.
limited,
They've basically got their like
unlike the Brewers.
they've
So
got
if
like their
those guys get
five,
injured,
have they, or like they're 5 or 6, six guys who are all like established names, pretty much, isn't it?
is that including the Tyler Chatwood?
Yeah, that's including Ty Chatwood. I guess he's not going to be in the rotation.
Yeah, I'm not sure he really counts. I mean,
I mean,
this
he
is
is an
also
established name. Like
yeah,
they
but
gave him a big free agent contract.
not established in a good way. And they chose not to spend. Everyone thought they'd be Bryce Harper contenders and stuff, but they basically ruled themselves out. And I know Harper got a lot more than Watwood was on, look at some of the contracts they've handed out. I mean,